ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
So for the last class we just have completed and studied the mechanism of nitrogen fixation. So in the mechanism of nitrogen fixation we clearly understood that what is the equation we have written for the last class. Nitrogen, it takes the help of 8 protons, 8 electrons plus 16 ATP, and with the help of an enzyme dinitrogenase enzyme produces 2 molecules of ammonia plus 2 protons, along with that 16 molecules of ADP. So what is produced here is ammonia. 2 molecules of ammonia is produced. So if you talk about 2 molecules of ammonia here, now in this mechanism what we have to understand, for 1 molecule of ammonium 16 ATP molecules are used, to produce 2 molecules of ammonium. For 1 ammonium molecule, it's nothing but we make use of all the way 8 ATP. That means for the formation of ammonia, it makes use of high energy. High energy is needed to produce 2 molecules of ammonia. I repeat again, nitrogen requires 8 protons, 8 electrons, 16 ATP, and with the help of an enzyme dinitrogenase produces 2 molecules of ammonium and 16 molecules of ADP, and here 2 ammonia requires 16 ATP. For 1 ammonium molecule it requires 8 ATP. Right. Now in this case if you look at carefully, now as we see here, if you talk about rhizobium, inside the rhizobium what we find? Enzyme called dinitrogenase. This dinitrogenase is not operational then rhizobium exists in aerobic condition. What's the meaning of that? Rhizobium contains an enzyme called dinitrogenase. As I told you clearly for the last class, rhizobium, it's an aerobic bacteria. I repeat that point because it's very important. Try to understand the important points which we need to remember in mechanism of nitrogen fixation. Rhizobium contains dinitrogenase. When rhizobium surviving in aerobic condition, inside the rhizobium dinitrogenase is not operational, means not doing the work. What is the work? Nitrogen fixation. Not doing nitrogen fixation, not active, not operational. What? Dinitrogenase. Now when rhizobium has to make the dinitrogenase active or operational, means what? It's involved in conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into nitrate or ammonia. Operational means it's involved in nitrogen fixation. Then rhizobium adopt anaerobic condition. Rhizobium adopt anaerobic condition. What you have to understand? Rhizobium can survive both aerobic condition as well as anaerobic condition. When rhizobium is in aerobic condition, dinitrogen is not operational, no nitrogen fixation. When rhizobium inside dinitrogen is operational, when it is involved in nitrogen fixation, it is in anaerobic condition. So you know it very well. Rhizobium, it's nothing but a bacillus. Bacillus meaning what? A rod shaped bacteria. It's a rod shaped bacteria. Bacillus is a rod shaped bacteria. Right, apart from this, even try to remember it's gram negative bacteria. Moreover, it shows a symbiotic association with legumes. Legumes means Fabaceae. Okay, so these are the points. And one more thing, what is the other point you have to remember from the last video? Leg hemoglobin. Leg hemoglobin protects dinitrogenase enzyme from impact of oxygen. Right, that's why it's called, very importantly, it's called oxygen scavenger. Like hemoglobin, it's called oxygen scavenger. This is the total input of points which you have to remember from the last class. What is the last class? Last class we studied mechanism of nitrogen fixation. In mechanism of nitrogen fixation, these are the important points to be notified. I say rhizobium, when dinitrogenase is not operational, definitely it exists in aerobic condition. When dinitrogenase is operational and involved in nitrogen fixation within the rhizobium, then it adapts itself to anaerobic conditions. Rhizobium, it's a bacillus, it's a rod shaped bacteria. Moreover, it's a gram negative bacteria. We are very much familiar that it shows symbiotic association with legumes and Fabaceae, and like hemoglobin, it's nothing but the oxygen scavenger which protects nitrogenase from the impact of oxygen. Now, which are the ones? Does you think only rhizobium is involved in nitrogen fixation? No, there are so many other organisms are also involved in nitrogen fixation. So, if you look at nitrogen fixation, let us take some examples which also does the function called nitrogen fixation. For example, the bacteria which is free living, example you can take bacillus. Free living bacteria, example we can take bacillus. Free living nitrogen fixing bacteria, you can take cyanobacteria, example. Cyanobacteria means, most commonly we will remember the two examples. What are they? Nostoc and Anabina. Right. So, Nostoc, Anabina are cyanobacteria. Now, if you take Nostoc is a cyanobacteria which shows a symbiotic association with Azolla. It's nothing but a pteridophyte. Right? So, what are, apart from rhizobium, we are discussing other nitrogen fixing bacteria which are free living. You know cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria has Nostoc and Anabina. Examples. Nostoc shows symbiotic association with aquatic fawn, that is pteridophyte, Azolla. Anabina is the one which shows symbiotic association with Anthoceros, nothing but a bryophyte. Anthoceros, nothing but what? A bryophyte. Then apart from this, you can take some more examples like free living aerobes. You can take example for this Azotobacter and Beijeringia. which compulsory need the help of oxygen are called aerobes. Free living aerobes, example Azotobacter and Bergeringia. Then free living anaerobes. Free living anaerobes, you can take example Rhodospirillum. Right? I repeat again all these examples. For the last class, when we study the mechanism of nitrogen fixation, since from lower classes you know example, Rhizobium is a bacteria which shows symbiotic association with the legumes or Fabaceae. Not only Rhizobium, let us talk about some other bacteria, some other organisms which also involved in the process called nitrogen fixation. So these are very simple examples to remember. Once again check it out. Free living is example Bacillus. Free living nitrogen fixing bacteria, it's a cyanobacteria. You know, most commonly known cyanobacteria are Nostoc, Anabaena. Nostoc is the one which shows symbiotic association with Azolla. Azolla is an aquatic form, it's nothing but a pteridophyte. And then we find even Anabaena. Anabaena also shows symbiotic association with Anthoceros, it's nothing but bryophyte. So I am just keep repeating these points. Why? Because sometimes you have a chance of getting the questions. Whenever you get the question that which bacteria shows symbiotic association with Azolla means you have to take Nostoc, and which shows association with Anthoceros means you have to look for what? Anabaena. Indirectly what is the question form you will get? Pteridophyte means Nostoc, that's Azolla, commonly called aquatic fern, and Anthoceros bryophyte. Bryophyte which shows symbiotic association means what you get? Anabaena, right. Then free living aerobes if you take, we have examples like Azotobacter and Bergeringia, we have this. And free living anaerobes, you can remember the example called Rhodospirillum. So these all examples are very important because the possibility of getting questions is there, because mechanism of nitrogen fixation is very important. Now, when we look at the mechanism of nitrogen fixation here finally in the reaction what is produced is called ammonia. Let's begin from there. So here ammonia is produced. In plants, this ammonia what is produced is protonated to form ammonium. So what generally happens here, it happens at physiological pH. So at physiological pH we say that ammonia is the one protonated to form ammonium. That means here what's happening? Two protons are being added here. So when two protons are added here, ammonia it's get converted into what? Ammonium ions. So generally what happens when ammonium is produced here? So in generally plants can accumulate both nitrate and ammonium. Nitrate means NO3 and also ammonium. What's happening in here? In the process called nitrogen fixation, In the process called nitrogen fixation, atmospheric nitrogen got converted into nitrate and ammonium. Right. So when you take the nitrate, when nitrate is available in the surrounding soil, plant can take nitrogen in the form of nitrate and also in the form of ammonium. So both can be taken. Both will accumulate within the plants. So plant will take both components, available components. As a result, what happens when ammonium got accumulated in the plant? If it is in excess quantity, if ammonium got accumulated in excess quantity, later it becomes quite toxic to plant. So when nitrate is there, plant utilizes nitrate, ammonium get accumulated, plant uses ammonium. Suppose ammonium is keep on getting accumulated. When excess quantity of ammonium got accumulated, then excess quantity later it becomes quite toxic to the plant. As soon as ammonium got accumulated, if plant uses, no problem. But beyond the use, if more and more ammonium got accumulated, then that ammonium itself it becomes quite toxic to plant. As a result, what happens here? Now, to avoid this, ammonium is used to synthesis. Ammonium is used to synthesize, used for the synthesis of amino acids. So, not to become toxic, what is the precaution taken by plant? Not to become toxic, what is the precaution taken by plant? Excess amount of ammonium, anything is this? Excess amount of ammonium, whatever it got accumulated within the plant, immediately uses to form the ammonia or amino acids. Why? If get accumulated becomes toxic. Plant don't want to make it as toxic. So whatever get accumulated, it immediately start converting into what is called amino acids. Now let us see how ammonium is used for the synthesis of amino acids. Now here, if you take all together, this can be done in two ways. It can be done in two ways. One is called as reductive amination and other one is called as transamination. So what I am telling here, I repeat again, what's happening here? Ammonia, as soon as is produced in the mechanism of nitrogen fixation, protonated with the addition of two protons, immediately it get converted into ammonium ions. So in the surrounding plant, when nitrate and ammonium available, plants can accumulate both nitrate and ammonium. When ammonium is accumulated, plant used. When no more ammonium, no problem. But when ammonium is keep getting accumulated in excess quantity, then ammonium itself later can become quite toxic to the plant. So to avoid toxicity, ammonium is generally used for synthesis of amino acids. How ammonium is used for synthesis of amino acids? There are so many ways to convert ammonia into many different type of amino acids, but hardly we are discussing two ways here, the two methodologies. What are they? First one is reductive amination. Second one is transamination. With these two methods, we are converting ammonium into amino acids. Now let us discuss these two methods. Right. So what is the very first method we are discussing here? Reductive amination. So what is this method? First method, here we are trying to convert ammonia into amino acid. So here we take the component called alpha ketoglutarate acid. Alpha ketoglutarate acid, and which reacts with ammonia plus NADPH. What are the components we are taking? Alpha ketoglutaric acid. This comes from respiration. Where in respiration? This comes from Krebs cycle or TCA cycle. Guys, we are going to discuss later respiration chapter. In respiration chapter, in respiration process we study 4 processes: glycolysis, link reaction, Krebs cycle and ETS. From the Krebs cycle we get the substrate called as alpha ketoglutaric acid. What is the substrate? Alpha ketoglutaric acid. Now this alpha ketoglutaric acid combines with ammonium ion and takes the energy NADPH, and here with the help of an enzyme glutamate dehydrogenase. Okay, with the help of an enzyme what? Glutamate dehydrogenase involved in the formation of glutamate, or itself is called glutaric acid. Glutaric acid. What is this now? This is an amino acid, and along with this you will get NAD plus. Right. So here you can also include protons are coming, no? So let us take even water molecule is coming out. So what is the reaction here? We have to remember reductive amination, meaning here ammonia by reacting with one of the substrate converting into an amino acid. How it is possible here? Alpha ketoglutaric acid is a substrate which we get from respiration. From where in respiration? Krebs cycle or TCA. From this, the substrate alpha ketoglutaric acid comes into the metabolic pathway and combines with ammonium, which got accumulated in the plant, combines with ammonium. Ammonium, when it reacts with alpha ketoglutaric acid by taking some amount of energy NADPH, with the help of enzyme glutamate dehydrogenase, it converts into glutamate. Glutamate or itself is called glutaric acid. It's what is this? This is a now amino acid. Now that gets again release of NAD plus along with the release of water. So what's happening here? Ammonium is used for synthesis of amino acid. So here what is this? Ammonium is used for synthesis of amino acid. So this is a amino acid produced, and this reaction is said to be reductive amination. And the second step is transamination. What is the second step? Transamination. What is this transamination here? So here there is a transfer of amino group. What is this group said to be? Amino group. From where? From amino acid to keto group of keto acid. What's the meaning of this? If you look at what's happening, what is getting transferred here? Amino group is getting transferred. This amino group getting transferred from where? From an amino acid. Getting transferred or shifted to whom? Keto group. Keto group, where it is present? Keto acid. So there is a transfer of amino group from amino acid to keto group of keto acid. As a transfer is happening of amino group, the reaction is said to be transamination. So here let us take, there is an amino acid, let us take this is NH2 COO minus or NH3, you can take whatever it may be, right? And here hydrogen. Let us take amino group only because we have to show transfer of amino group. This is the first amino acid. This is called amino donor, who is going to donate what? Amino group. Who is going to transfer what? Amino group. Let us take second component, amino acid H, and which has keto group here. When double bond is existing here, no hydrogen. So this is nothing but keto group here, but this act as amino acceptor. So let us make variations with the functional group. One is acting as amino donor, other one is acting as amino acceptor. So what's happening here? R1 having amino group who is donating the amino group, amino getting transferred from amino acid to, this is a keto group of keto acid. So with the help of an enzyme, this is reversible reaction, with the help of an enzyme transaminase. With the help of an enzyme called as what? Transaminase. As a result, what happens here? This will get keto group here and R2 will get amino group here. So this is a organic acid and this is a amino acid. Right. So what's happening here? Again I repeat, what is the second step called? Transamination. Transfer of amino group from amino acid to keto group of keto acid. So what's happened here? This is a group having amino group is here. This is one having C double bond O. Generally you know in chemistry this is a keto group. So what is getting transferred here? Amino group from amino acid is getting transferred. So it's called amino group donor. And here R2 will accept the amino group. R2 will accept the amino group. R2 gets the amino group. So R2 containing this group is called amino acceptor. As a result, R1 gets keto group here. Organic acid becomes R2 get amino acid group here. So this is becomes amino acid acceptor. So there is a transfer of amino group from the amino acid to the keto group of keto acid. So this is called as what? Transamination. What happens in both the groups? In both the groups there is a formation of what? Amino acid from where? Ammonia. In both the cases what's happening here? Transfer of amino acid, formation of amino acid from where? Ammonia. So try to remember these two reactions are important. What are they? First one is reductive amination and second one is nothing but what? Transamination. Let's continue what we have discussed lastly, two processes, reductive amination and transamination. Now if you look at most important compounds of the plant are, what are we discussing? Most important compounds of the plants are amides. They are nothing but what? Amides. In plant, if you talk about nitrogen compounds, means the compounds which are made up of with nitrogen. What we discussed? Amino acids. Ammonium convert to form amino acids. Now compared with amino acids, the most important compounds of plants are nothing but what? Amides. Why do we call amides as most important compounds of plants? Because these amides are structural component of the plant. Structural components of the plant. These amides are structural components of the plant, means like pigments, hormones, and we get nucleic acids. All these structurally they are most commonly they are made up of with the compounds called amides. Now which amides they are? Like let us talk about the most important amides are, these amides are, what are they? Asparagine and glutamate or glutamine. Which are the two important amides? Amides we are writing the example. Which are the two important amides? Amides are asparagine and glutamine. Glutamine are nothing but these two are amides. Now these two amides are formed from where? They formed from amino acids. So which amino acid? So here aspartic acid is a amino acid. Glutamic acid, this is also nothing but what these two are? These two are amino acids. Aspartic acid get converted into asparagine. Glutamic acid is get converted into glutamine. Glutamic acid is an amino acid. Glutamine, it's nothing but what? Amide. So, how an amino acid converts into amides? Now, what we have to discuss? How amino acid converted into amides. What we have to discuss? What you have to understand now here? Amino acid converted into amides. What did you study? How amino acids are produced? Amino acids are produced from ammonia. Right, ammonia used for synthesis of amino acids. Some amino acids, they participate in metabolism, but some amino acids are converted into amides. These amides are structural components of the cell. Why they are called structural components of the cell here? Because these amides plays very important role in growth and metabolism. These amides, what are produced from amino acid, they play an important role in growth and metabolism. That's why they are called structural components of the cell, and that is the reason why they are referred as most important compounds of plant are amides. Now we studied how ammonia converted into amino acid by two processes, reductive amination and transamination. Now let us study how amino acid converts into amides. Let us study this. How it is possible here? By addition of amino group. By the addition of amino group, here amino acids can be converted into amides. So here additional, here also additional amino group is added. So if you take an amino acid, it's getting converted into what? Amide. How? When amino acid is joined with amino group, additional amino group, already amino group is there in amino acid. Now if there is some more addition of amino group, by the addition of amino group, amino acid get converted into amide. Here also, if you take example, here aspartic acid is an amino acid. With the additional amino group is added here. With the addition of amino group here, amino acid called aspartic acid converted into an amide called asparagine. I repeat again, amino acid, aspartic acid, with the addition of amino group converted into asparagine. Similarly, amino acid called glutamic acid, with the addition of amino group, amino acid, glutamic acid, with the addition of amino group converted into amide called glutamine. So let us study now how it happens. Generally, if you take the structure of amino acid, let us take structure of an amino acid. When you take the structure of an amino acid, all of you know it very well, we find, let us take R1 and C is here, COOH is here, and this is amino group. Let us take this is H. This is the structure of what? Amino acid. Already in amino acid, so here already in amino acid, what is there here? One second. In structure of amino acid, R1 functional group is there, carboxylic acid is there, hydrogen is there, amino group is there. Now what happens here? OH is replaced by OH group. What is this? Hydroxyl group. Hydroxyl group is replaced by amino group. Hydroxyl group is replaced by amino group. What is the meaning of this? Hydroxyl group is removed, it comes out. In this place, what is being added here? One more amino group is added here. As a result of this, R1 HCO NH2. Already C is having amino group and here is H. Here one amino group is there, but here hydroxyl group is replaced with addition of amino group. So already one amino group is there in amino acid. Additionally one more amino group is added, then it becomes what? Amide. This is amino acid. So now amino acid converts into what? Amide. How amino acid is converted into amide? With the addition of amino group. When amino group is added, where it will be added? By replacing hydroxyl group. Hydroxyl group is removed and CO joins with NH2 lead to formation of what is called amides. So what you have understood here? So when you understood here that amides contain more nitrogen than amino acid. So what is the final thing which you have to understand? Amides contain more nitrogen than amino acid. That means what is amide here? See here, this is amino acid. Amino acid contain only one amino group, that is R1 functional group, carboxylic acid, hydrogen, amino group. Only one amino group is there in the amino acid. With the additional amino group, when additional amino group is being added, then what happens here? Where this additional NH2 group is added? By replacing the hydroxyl group. OH is going, who is coming? NH2 is coming. So here two amino groups are there. That means amide contain more amount of nitrogen. How many amino groups? 2 amino groups. More amount of nitrogen than amino acid. Amino acid contains only one amino group. So what is the statement I have written here? Amides contain more nitrogen than amino acids. That's why we say amides are nothing but most important compounds of the plant. That's why they very much essential for growth and metabolism. That's why they are called structural components of the plant. Now, once amides are produced from the amino acids, these amides are transported through xylem vessels. They get transported through xylem vessels. So, you know guys, wherever we write X, X refers to what? Xylem. They get transported through xylem vessels. So, when they get transported through the xylem vessels across a very tall top of the plant, so in ascending stream, they get transported to all the other parts of the plant. Amides, once they get produced at one corner of the cell from the excess amount of ammonia which is getting converted into amino acid get converted into amides and now they get transported through xylem vessels in ascending stream to all other parts of the plant. Right, this is the story of amides. Does you think in all plants we find amides? No, in some plants, for example, this you take it as a note point, very important point. For example, let's come back to nitrogen fixation, most common phenomena we find in case of legumes. Now let us talk about in case of legumes, especially if you take the example called as soya bean. So here in case of soya bean, excess nitrogen exported in the form of urates. So this is what are nothing but urates. So here in this soya bean legumes where excess amount of nitrogen is not converting into amide, excess amount of nitrogen it got converted into urates. So excess nitrogen exported in the form of urates through xylem vessels and transpiration pool. In xylem vessels through transpiration full. Means xylem is the one which is carrying water and minerals in upward direction to all the parts of the plant, but here excess amount of nitrogen got exported in the form of what are called urates. So in all other plants amides are present, but especially in soya bean and legume excess nitrogen got converted into urates instead of amides, it got converted into urates, and this urates through xylem vessels they get transported to all other plants in upward streaming called transportation, or we call transpiration pull. Loss of water in upper part of the leaf pulls the water and nutrients through xylem vessels from lower part of the plant to higher part of the plant. And one more thing, very important thing here, urates contain, very important, this urates contain high nitrogen to carbon ratio, high nitrogen to carbon ratio, very important. So here this urates contain high nitrogen to carbon ratio when compared with the amides. So this is a very important part in the last part of nitrogen fixation. Let me have a quick thing of this. Now if you look at, I repeat again, ammonium got converted into what is called amino acids. By what methods? Two methods, reductive amination, transamination. These amino acids converted into what? Amides. What are these amides? These amides are referred as most important compounds of plants. Right. Why they are called most important compounds? Because amides play an important role in growth and metabolism. In metabolism they may be in the form of, they involve in formation of nucleic acids, hormones, pigments and all other compounds. That's why amides are called structural components of plant. Right, that is why they are very important, most important compounds. Where they are produced? They are produced from amino acids. Now let us see how amides are produced from amino acids. So here most important amides if you take, we have two. What are they? Asparagine and glutamine. These two amides are produced from where? Produced from aspartic acid and glutamic acid. Aspartic acid with the addition of amino group converted into amide called asparagine. Similarly, an amino acid called glutamic acid with the addition of amino group converts into glutamine. So here let us take the structure of an amino acid here. In this case R1 C COOH amino group H. What is this? This is an amino acid. In this hydroxyl group is replaced with amino group. As a result what happened? CO is there, combines with amino group. OH is going. So CO combines with an H2 group. Already amino group is there. More one amino group is added. So it's called as what? Amide. So amide contain two amino groups. Amino acid contain only one amino group. That's why we write the statement, amides contain more nitrogen than amino acids. Now if you take these amides, whatever are produced, they will get transported through xylem vessels in ascending order from the root to the shoot to all other parts of the plant, right. So here for example if you take the legumes, especially in soya bean if you take, because in legumes rhizobium will be there, symbiotic association, root nodule formation, nitrogenase and like hemoglobin. So generally legumes are involved in nitrogen fixation, right. In all legumes, no doubt, excess amount of nitrogen ammonium converts into what? Amides, no doubt. But in case of soya bean, very important, exceptionally you have to remember, in case of the soya bean, excess amount of nitrogen exported in the form of urates. Remember urates, very important. Right, in remaining all other legumes it is amides, but in case of soya bean it is urates. So urates, it also get transported through xylem vessels in transpiration pool, and these urates are different from amides. In what way urates are different from amides? Urates contain high nitrogen to carbon ratio, very important. So here legumes, soya bean, high nitrogen to carbon ratio, urates is a notified point, very important note point you need to concentrate. So this is how nitrogen fixation takes place. Product of nitrogen is ammonia. Ammonia converts into amino acid converts into amides, but exceptionally in soya bean it converts into urates.